Hello, friends, and welcome. Welcome to your July Taroscopes with me, Intuitive Rene. Quite excited to bring July Taroscopes to you. Let me just take a second before we get into too many details to explain what a Taroscope is, how it works, and why you should be watching. So Taroscopes are something I release once a month. I do Taroscopes in the last week of each month for the month ahead, and I record 12 individual readings, one reading for each sign of the zodiac. Each reading uses the same spread or the same layout, but I change, obviously I shuffle and draw cards on camera so that the reading is completely clear to each one of you. And whatever your sun sign is, or if you're interested, you can do your moon sign and your rising sign as well, but your sun sign is the main one that the Taroscopes is done around. So whatever your sun sign is, you basically go to that sign of the zodiac and you watch the video, and it gives you guidance, detailed guidance for the month ahead. So in this particular case, we're looking at the month of July 2022, and I'm going to stick to the same format or layout or spread that I used in the last couple of months, because it seems to give substance. It seems to give quite a lot of information. The idea behind these Taroscopes is not so much fortune telling, because that's not really something I enjoy doing in these videos. What I enjoy, or I set the intention, is that these videos be a guide to help you navigate the month in whichever way you need to, because these are for the collective, because it's for everybody who has Aries or Pisces or Scorpio, whatever the zodiac sign is. That's a lot of you, okay? So to take the whole universe and everybody on it and categorize them into 12 little groups, is very broad. So I try not get too specific in the readings. I try and keep it as open-minded as possible, but really just to help you navigate, to give you the insight, the guidance, and the motivation that you need to handle the month in the best way that you can. So it will be applicable to so many different things that you deal with. And I get a lot of people messaging me saying, how did you get it to be so specific to my own circumstances? And really what that is because the reading is for the collective, a general, you are able to take the situations and to almost translate them into your circumstances. And it does fit, it does work. So that is the motivation or the idea behind the Taroscope. So I do record one intro. So this that you're listening to right now, I stick in the front of each of the individual readings just to save me having to say this 12 times. So I record 12 individual readings, and I put them up as 12 separate videos. So if you are watching whatever zodiac sign you are watching right now, but you want to jump to another one to check on your moon sign, or to check a family member or a significant other's zodiac for the month, the Taroscope, if you open up the description below, you will see I have links to each of the 12 zodiacs for July 2022. For this month, though, I am changing the cards that I work with. Every month I like to change cards because I like to play with my different cards. So this month I am my main tarot deck that I'm going to work with is the Lightseers Tarot. Lightseers Tarot, created by Rene Donnelly. She's an amazing, beautiful soul, beautiful energy. So she created this deck, and I call this my workhorse. It's a deck I reach for whenever I need a little bit of guidance, and for most of my client readings it is a staple in my collection. I'm going to pair that up with another deck by Rene Donnelly, by the same creator of the Lightseers, and that is the Sacred Creators Oracle. And this is going to set out our theme, or give us our tone for the month ahead from the Sacred Creators Oracle. And at the end of the reading, before we finish off, I'm going to finish off with a card from the Earthcraft Oracle as well. So all in all, we're going to have 11 cards that we're going to deal with for each sign of the zodiac. So that's detailed. That's giving you quite a lot of information. The video stays up on YouTube all the time, so you can come back to it as often as you need to. So if you want to say, a couple of days into the month, if you want to come and just do a check-in on how you're navigating, what are the things that you should be focusing on, and just double checking yourself, you're welcome to do that. Do it again in the middle of the month, and then just before the end of the month as well. Just like as you are listening to me now, your June Taroscopes are still up for viewing. So maybe pop over and see how you did. What were you supposed to be focusing on versus what you were focusing on? How far off are you? And then when you look at July, it'll put a lot of things into perspective for you as well. Friends, these videos, I love bringing them to you, but it would be nice if you could just show some love and support the channel to make sure that that I keep coming back and bringing you this content by giving the video a thumbs up, and comment below is always so valued and appreciated. And if you haven't already done so, please do click that subscribe button. So I'm going to stop chatting and let's get straight into your reading. Right, Leo, let's get into your reading and see what the month of July has for you. On the table here in front of me now, I have got the Sacred Creators Oracle. Let's give it a little shuffle. And what we're looking at from this particular deck is the tone of the reading for you this month. So Leo, we're looking for the tone of this reading. So it's not the theme. It's a little bit different to the theme. It's just the tone that I'm going to use for the entire reading today. Okay, I'm happy with that shuffle. Let's cut the deck over there. Take a card off the top and let's see. So Leo, we're looking at July 2022. Let's look at what is the tone for the reading. And we've got to find your sacred flow. So interesting that that's come through, because obviously the month of July is leading up into your birthday. So there are some of you Leos who will be celebrating your birthday in the month of July. So happy birthday to those of you who are. And finding your sacred flow is something we do just before our birthday. It's almost like, as we complete a cycle around the sun, and that's interesting that I'm seeing that there. As we complete a cycle around the sun, we start evaluating and questioning everything. Evaluating and questioning our place, our purpose, our reasoning, our reason for being, all of those kind of things. And trying to find your sacred flow. So that is going to be a tone, if I can use that word, that we're going to bring into the whole reading today. I now have the tarot deck that I'm going to be using today, and this is the Light Seers Tarot. So I'm going to give it a good shuffle. I'm going to lay out all the cards that we need. And only once all the cards are laid out will I actually start with the reading. So just bear with me while I shuffle and lay out all the cards. I love this deck. It is such a workhorse. This deck works so hard. It does so much for me. And it's such a pretty deck too. The colors are just so wonderful and so amazing. All right, so Leo, let's have a look and see July 2022. Cutting the deck over there. Let's see if I can lay the cards out in a pretty way. We do have a little bit of glare there, but I promise you once the cards are turned over, it doesn't really matter. But I do want to put all the cards down first, and then we will get into your reading. If you want to fast forward past this section, absolutely go for it. Because, yeah, we need to make sure that it's all neat and tidy, that it's visible, that everybody can see what's happening, so that everything is clear. Right, there we go. And just putting that down, I have one more deck. So this deck is the Earthcraft Oracle. I'm going to take just a single card from this deck, which we're going to look at the end of the reading. But I do want to just get the shuffling and the laying out done now, just to save us doing it later. Okay, so this is going to just sort of tie in the reading and just a final kind of bit of inspiration from Spirit. Happy with that shuffle. I'm going to take that card over there. All right, Leo. All the cards are shuffled. All the cards are laid out. Let's get straight into it. So we're going to just remind you about the tone of this particular reading, which is to find your sacred flow. And hopefully the cards that we get and the messages that come through today will absolutely help you to do that. Our first card that we have here, Leo, is the card that describes you as you step over into July. So as the month of July starts, who are you? What are you going through? What are you dealing with? What are you navigating? So you are the Wheel of Fortune card, which is a beautiful card. So here we have this lady standing above these, what it initially looks like casino chips. But they are spelling out tarot. And she's standing on one foot. She's balancing. She's trying to find, she's even got her lucky dice around her neck. But if we look at this energy around her, she has got the yin and yang energy of light and dark. And our casino chips are swiveling and turning. We've got clouds building behind her, but she is incredibly confident as she stands there. She understands that the wheel turns. She understands that sometimes in life we have no control. We just have to go through the motions. Sometimes we just have to go accept the flow, take the flow as it is, accept it as it is, and just continue. And Leo, this is you as you step into the month of July. You're not trying too hard to control anything. You're not trying too hard to manipulate. You're sort of just, 1 foot at a time, one step at a time. You're just sort of going through the motions, trusting and believing that everything's going to work out as it needs to. So you're not navigating, manipulating, controlling in any way. You're sort of just accepting and trusting the flow, which is not a bad thing. In all honesty, it's certainly not a bad thing at all. Right, our next card that we have, Leo, and this card is the card that actually defines or gives us the theme for the month of July for you. So what is the month of July all about? This particular reading is all about helping you find your flow, but your sacred flow, I should say. But let's have a look. What is July actually? What does July actually have in store for you? The theme of July, we have got the Magician card. The Magician card is a major arcana card. It is card number 1. And it mentions and it wants us to recognize and acknowledge that we have all the tools that we need to achieve whatever we desire. So as you go into the month of July, you've got to recognize and understand that there are infinite possibilities, endless possibilities that are available to you, and you get to choose, you get to decide, you get to create your own reality. So whatever it is that you want for yourself, you are able to achieve that. You are able to make it happen by being assertive, by being in control, by being active, I think is the better word to use, by being active in your role in the things that are happening around you. If you just take a back seat and you sort of just watch and observe, you probably find you're not going to have as much success. But if you are active and if you are involved and if you are doing, you will be able to create and manifest anything that your heart desires. I'm also going to say to you though, Leo, be very careful about the thoughts that you have, because if you're going through a bad time and you're having some negative thoughts or some hard thoughts or some difficult thoughts, just recognize that because the theme for the month is Magician, that means that it's very easy for you to manifest what you're thinking. So if you wake up in the morning and you stump your toe and you think, oh gosh, it's going to be one of those days, then immediately you are manifesting and creating that to be true. So pay very special attention to your thoughts, pay very special attention to, and even though you're starting the month off sort of just taking things as it comes, going with the flow, we don't want to be doing that throughout the month. We want to be active in the roles that we play, in the things that we do, in order to achieve the things that we want, that we need, and we desire. Okay, so that's very interesting for you for the month ahead. Next card on our list, Leo, is a card that's going to identify something that you will accomplish during the month of July. So something that you will actually deal with, something that you will accomplish during the month of July, is the Four of Pentacles. I love this card. Here we have this lady. She's pulled away from town. She's removed herself ever so slightly from the hustle and the bustle. In this purse that she clutches here to her chest, in that purse is everything that means something to her, everything that's important and significant. She sits in a very strong pose. She certainly doesn't look weak. She certainly doesn't look concerned. But if we look at the way her hands are clutching this purse, she is making sure that nobody can take advantage of her, even though she's not looking, even though she looks very serene in her face. She's sort of recognizing that this is my stuff and I don't necessarily want to or need to share with you. So I'm going to hold on to it. And everywhere she goes, she takes this purse. And we don't know what's inside that purse. Maybe even she's forgotten what's inside that purse. But what she's doing is she's holding on to the things that mean the most to her. These could be secrets. These could be physical objects. It could be money. It could be clothing. It could be whatever. But she's sort of recognizing that what matters to her, and she's holding on to it for dear life. And she's not going to just willingly share with anybody. Now, it's interesting that comes through for you, Leo, in what you will accomplish this month, because it says that you're going to recognize what's important for you. You're going to recognize the things that matter most to you, and you're going to hold on to them during the month. You're not going to be sharing your secrets or sharing your recipes or sharing your methods or sharing your stuff with people who don't deserve it or don't need that information or don't deserve that. So you're going to be keeping your emotions, your finances, your ideas, your thoughts, your inspirations, you're going to be keeping them very close to your chest this month. And I think because we've got the theme of the magician, that sort of makes sense to me, because this is sort of spirit saying to you that you have the ability to manifest and to create whatever you desire. But in order to do so, keep your secrets to yourself, keep your thoughts to yourself, keep all of that information to yourself, because if you just put it out there for everybody, people are going to take advantage of you. So we need to, and understanding that we are looking to find our sacred flow, the only way that you're going to find your sacred flow is by knowing what to hold on to, what to keep close to your heart, and what to let go of. And we need to make sure that we're keeping everything close to our heart that is not ready or necessary to share with other people. All right. Our next two cards that we have, Leo, looking at this first one, is something that you need to avoid. Whatever goes on in the month, whatever you experience during the month, this is something that you absolutely need to avoid for the month of July. And you need to avoid stress, worry, and anxiety. You can see by this particular image that this gentleman has got a lot of stress. You know, you can see the way that he's frowning, and the way that he's scratching his head. He's like, oh my gosh, you know, when's it going to stop? How am I going to solve it? What? And he's got all these kind of thoughts and all these kind of worries and anxieties going through his mind. And then he has this bird that is very loudly chirping in his ear. And he's feeling very overwhelmed by all of this. And that's exactly the message of the card. We've got a version of himself here that has escaped, that has run away, that is sort of, and you can see by this energy here that it's a different version of himself that has released. But what he's holding on to is a version of himself that is full of panic, full of fear, full of stress, full of worry. So you need to avoid that at all costs this month, because remember, you are manifesting. So if you're holding on to thoughts and worries and anxieties, you're going to be manifesting even more of that. And we don't want to. So keep your thoughts to yourself, keep your fears, your stresses, and your anxieties to yourself. And maybe don't even think about it. Just put it in the bag, keep the bag close, and leave it be. We'll worry about it next month, because we don't want to be manifesting things out of turn this month. And Leo, our next card is, so that was something that you need to avoid during the month. This is a card of something that you need to embrace. And Spirit is saying to you, I love this. So here we have a lady. She's sitting at a huge big window. She's looking out at the world, and she's got a globe in front of her, and she's got a travel magazine. And she's sort of saying, right, where to next? What do I want to do next? She's pondering her future. She's thinking about her next move, her next step, her next direction, her next holiday, whatever you want to call it, okay? She's thinking about the next thing for herself. And this is something that you need to embrace, Leos. You need to be thinking about tomorrow, next week, next month, and next year. You need to be thinking about where it is that you want to go to, what it is that you want to achieve, what it is that you want to accomplish. And I am going to say to you, it's not so much with work-related stuff as it is about you as an individual. So it's about planting those seeds, setting those seeds, and being a little bit dreamy about it, because that's what she is. You know, the way that she's sitting and the way that she's staring out the window, she's dreaming. She's allowing herself to fantasize a little bit about all the exotic locations that she wants to go to and all the things that she wants to achieve and that she wants to do. So, Leo, considering your theme is manifestation this month, maybe if you actually have the conversation with people around, you know what, I would love to experience this. I would love to go there. I would love to do that. If you put those kind of thoughts out there, maybe this is the perfect time to manifest those dreams and those desires. And I'm saying that because we've got finding your sacred flow here. And finding your sacred flow is the card that says to you, you know, everything moves in the way that it should. Everything happens in the way that it should. Everything just moves like it needs to. And there's no resistance. There's no fight back. There's no pushback, okay? We are going to keep certain aspects of it to ourselves. We're not going to share with everybody, but we're not going to also stress about it. We're not going to think, oh, I can never afford that holiday, or I can never afford that experience. We're going to say, gosh, it would be wonderful. It would be amazing if I could do that. I would love to have that opportunity. Say that, put it out there, experience it, let people hear your story, because maybe in doing so, the universe will hear you, respond, and manifest that exact experience for you, which I think would be absolutely amazing. Right, we're coming down to this card down the bottom here. And Leo, this is a very interesting card because this is an obstacle that you will need to overcome during the month of July. Not something that you can avoid. We're going to avoid the stress as much as possible. We're going to avoid the stress and the anxiety. But this is something that you're not able to avoid. This is something that you're going to have to work through. And Leo, for you, it is, and this is very interesting, it's the Hermit card. So the Hermit card is the card of isolation, of solitude, of introspection, the card of listening to yourself, going within, and as I said, being a little bit introspective. So there she sits at the top of a mountain. She has walked all this way. She's reached the top. She's got one little tiny lantern with her. She can't see very far, but she's sort of lost in her own thought process, lost in her own mind. She's not relying on anybody. She's not thinking about anybody. She's very much in her own little world. And this is something that you need to process, that you need to work through, Leo, because this is spirit saying to you that isolating and keeping to yourself and keeping the thoughts to yourself and not putting your dreams, hopes, and desires out there is an obstacle you need to overcome, because clearly you're the kind of person who doesn't really like to brag or doesn't really like to wish for or expect unrealistic, strange, crazy things. You're the kind of person who likes to be real, honest, integrity. You're somebody who probably is always doing for others as opposed to expecting others to do for you. So you've got to force yourself out of your security, your comfort. You've got to force yourself to climb out of that mindset and to actually start connecting with other people and saying, you know what, I would like something different. I would like something more. I think I'm ready to explore. Finding your sacred flow. And it's very, very difficult to say something, to put yourself out there, especially when you don't know how other people are going to respond or how other people are going to react. And Leo, this is Spirit saying to you, it's very important during the month of July that you break those chains of keeping quiet, of keeping everything to yourself and putting it out there and sharing with the world, letting them know what it is that you desire, what it is that you desire, and what it is that you want for yourself. And don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to put it out there. Don't feel like you have to do everything on your own by yourself. There are many people who will guide you and help you along the journey. So let them help you. Let them guide you where possible. All right. Our next card, Leo, is the support that is available to you during the month of July. So understanding we've got a lot going on. There's a lot of, inner work that needs to be done. And it's interesting that I was saying to you that as we sort of complete the year cycle leading up to your birthday, there's always these thoughts around, have I done enough? Should I do more? Do I want more? What could I have done better? There's always these thoughts around, what am I going to do for the next year? What does the next year of my life look like? And as much as Spirit is saying we need to avoid stress, Spirit is saying we need to keep our stuff to ourselves, only share the parts that are necessary, recognize that we can manifest things as quickly and as miraculously as we can imagine. And it's time for us to climb out of our comfort zones and to start connecting with other people. How is Spirit going to help us through that? How is Spirit going to support us through this process? And the card that we have got here is the Page of Cups. Page of Cups is such a fascinating card. Yes, listen to me, card. Pigs do fly in the middle of July, So what we've got here is we've got a gentleman sitting. He's sitting sort of on a concrete block at the seaside, okay? But he's lost in his head. He's lost in his thoughts. He's actually very similar to the Hermit card. He's operating from his heart space, but we can see all of this kind of magic that's coming off. And his eyes are lifting up or pointing up, looking up. So he's definitely in fantasy land. He's in imagination. And he's not grounded. He's not earth connected. He's not got his feet well established on the ground. He's floating in the air, okay? So, he's even seeing, flying pigs and all that kind of stuff. But what he is most focused on and most obsessed about is love. And it's universal love. It's universal love and acceptance. That is the thing that matters most to him. But he's daydreaming. Okay? He is daydreaming. He is imagining the best case scenario. He is in fantasy land and quite absorbed in Fantasyland. Not in a negative sense at all, but he's certainly not grounded. He's certainly not earth-based. So this is Spirit saying to you, you've got permission to get lost in your thoughts. You've got permission to get lost in fantasy, to dream big, to have those, I'm going to call them unrealistic dreams and expectations, because it's these unrealistic dreams and expectations that will manifest into reality for you, that will help you. Whereas if you keep everything to yourself, you're restricting and limiting. So there's knowing what to hold on to, what to keep private, what to keep, to yourself, and what you need to put out there. And it's definitely time that you start expressing to everybody around you what it is that you truly want and desire in this world. And Spirit is saying that they support you. They will assist you to make your fantasies come to life. I like it. All right. Leo, next we have an action. These are steps that you need to take, something that you need to set in motion, something that you need to get kickstart during the month of July. And it is partnership, it's connection, it's working with somebody else. It's having a union, not only romantic. It doesn't have to be purely romantic. Although if you are in the market for somebody, this is definitely a positive sign. But you need to act on it. You need to initiate. But this is about whatever this is, okay? Whatever July has for you, this manifestation, this dreaming big and dreaming the impossible and bringing the impossible to life. This is a partnership. So Spirit is saying you're not going to do this on your own, okay? This is definitely a connection that you're going to have with another person, a connection that you're going to have with somebody else. And you need to recognize and understand that you have to initiate it. You have to act it. You have to make this partnership happen. Because when the two of you come together, when the two of you connect, that's when this magic is going to happen. And the magic will just flow. And that's when your dreams become a reality and your fears disappear and go away. But you have to remember, the obstacle that you have to overcome is the obstacle of independence and solitude and being on your own. And Spirit is saying you need to act on a connection with another person, because that's the answer to your dreams, to your ambitions, and to the things that you want to manifest for yourself during the month. And finally, Leo, our last tarot card before we get on to our last oracle card is just additional advice from Spirit. Anything else that Spirit wants to share around finding your sacred flow and manifesting that which you deserve this month. Final piece of advice for Spirit, and this one is connected to that card. You can see the similarities. We've got female, we've got male, but we've got this, the colors are the same, and we've got the birds. It's also about the stress and the anxiety. Remember, we were saying to avoid it. Now, what Spirit is saying to you is, here is a lady sitting in front of a mirror. If we look at her and we look at her, it's the same person, but they look so different, because this particular lady has got blindfolds, she's got string all around her, she's got birds that are caging her, trapping her, but in reality, there's none of that. So it's her perception of her own self that is skewed, that is inaccurate, that is not right. And the message that Spirit have for you, Leo, is that you've got to make sure that you're not imagining the worst, that you're not being a pessimist in everything. Because remember, and I did mention it earlier on, that during the month of July, you have the ability, whatever thoughts you have, whatever stuff is happening in your head, you're going to manifest it as quickly as ever. So you've got to make sure that your thoughts are not negative, are not of stress, worry, and anxiety. And don't think so little of yourself. Don't think that this is who you are or what you're going through, when in fact that is the furthest thing from the truth, that you are not experiencing any of that. So change your point of view, if I can put it that way. See yourself as you are, not in the way that you imagine or perceive yourself. And if you are able to do that, you are going to be able to manifest a beautiful life for yourself. So, and it's interesting that it's come up directly below as well, because it's just confirmation. Avoid the negative self-speak. Avoid the negative thoughts around, I can't, it won't happen, it won't work out for me, or I've tried it before and it doesn't work. Forget about all those thoughts. This is the month for you to manifest a beautiful life for yourself. But it does require work and effort. It does require you to change your thought process and to put yourself out there in a big way so that you can find your sacred flow. And Leo, our final oracle card, and this is from the Earthcraft Oracle. Let's have a look and see. Final message from Spirit. And it is, I love that. So death is not something to be concerned about or worried about. Death is the only thing that is guaranteed in life. Death also talks about transformation and change. And that's exactly what it is. So here we have a tree spirit. Trees stand for a very long time. They stand tall, they stand proud. They create, they produce, they manifest for years and years and years. And when a tree dies, does it actually die? No, it just returns to earth. It returns to its original state. It returns back to where it came from. And that's what this is Spirit saying to you, Leo, is that you've got to recognize that life is all about returning to original glory. And as we are into the last month of your cycle around the sun before your birthday, it is absolutely a time to come back to center, to come back to our sacred flow, to come back to the things that truly matter, and to check and to reevaluate ourselves and what we're going through, what we're dealing with. And sometimes it's about letting go of branches, letting go of parts of ourselves that aren't actually working for us anymore. Let those branches fall off and die so that there is new energy, new space, and new vigor that can come through. If we try and hold on to everything that isn't working in our lives, if we try and hold on to things unnecessarily, we are setting ourselves up for absolute failure and disaster. But if we let go, and if we constantly go through that purging, that releasing, that letting go of, we are able to manifest everything that our heart desires and so much more. There are no limits. There are no limits, Leo. The only limits that you have are those that are in your mind. All right. I think I'm going to leave it there for you because I think you've got a lot to chew on. So, Leo, thank you so much for being with me. I do hope that you have an amazing month of rebirth, of change, of evolution, and of setting goals for the next life, the next year around the sun. As always, with love and blessings from my heart to yours. And until we connect again, take care.